Welcome, everybody, to episode 51 of The Cover 2 presented by Tigervision. I'm with Grayson Mann. I'm Patrick Neal, as always. I'm watching the intro here and realizing I wear this shirt way too much. I need to update my wardrobe a little bit, but Grayson.
I like the shirt. It's all right.
Yeah, I like it too, obviously, because I wear it so much. But anyways, it's free agency.
Some content.
Yeah, the legal tampering period. It started yesterday. We are filming this on a Tuesday, as always. But some deals have been done.
Yes.
Grayson.
Free agency technically starts tomorrow, but as you know, the NFL likes to get a kickstart on things. There's been a lot happening, and there's still a lot of free agents that are yet to sign. So I'm excited about maybe potentially tomorrow.
A notable, well, I guess he's not a free agent.
Maybe a certain Cardinals wide receiver, but
anyways. I was thinking Aaron Rodgers here, but
oh yeah, that too.
Yeah. Is that where we want to start? I mean, there's kind of been some news today about him.
Yeah. So sometimes when you're on the playground and you're trying to organize teams for fairness, like, do you remember your days where you'd be playing kickball or maybe it was flag football and you and your friend would be like, well, hey, if he's on that team, I'm with him too. We're a package deal. Kind of feels like what Aaron Rodgers is doing. He's organizing teams on the playground. And the Jets may not bite.
Yeah, well, so it came out today that Aaron Rodgers, he wants Mercedes Lewis, elite tight end.
Elite.
He wants Randall Cobb, elite wide receiver. He wants Allen Lazard.
He's pretty good.
He's a pretty good wide receiver.
Pretty good.
And is there anybody else? I think that's, Odell Beckham Jr. That's right. How could I forget?
Well, actually, when we say elite, could be.
Could be. He hasn't played in a while. But Aaron Rodgers, that is his list of demands. He's holding the Jets hostage. And
it's like a divorce court.
Yeah. The Jets have signed Allen Lazard, so
4 years, 44. It's pretty telling. They're doing their best.
They're doing their best. Could, maybe Rodgers just actually doesn't want any of these guys on the Packers.
Maybe. And
maybe he actually hates them all and just wants them out of here.
Tell me if you've heard this before. Disgruntled old Packers quarterback signs with New York Jets.
Yeah.
Time is nothing but a loop.
History tends to repeat itself. So Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be a New York Jet, I think. Trey Wingo reported it yesterday that the deal was done. Turned out it was not done yet. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Sauce Gardner were all super excited.
And then they weren't.
And then they were like, well, sorry, jumped the gun a little bit. Did you see that video of them burning that cheese head?
They're going all for it. I got to respect them, obviously, for the Sauce Gardner gets that cheese head after a
I was going to say, I guess he still had it.
Yeah, he's just like, you know what, I'm going to do it for the team. Shows you what kind of player he is. Willing to sacrifice some personal valuables from his pretty outstanding rookie year.
Yeah, but Grayson.
Yes.
Other teams. Well, who's your big time winner in free agency so far?
I got two. I think that I like what the Broncos are doing.
Okay.
And I like what the Falcons have done so far.
Explain.
So the Broncos have signed, they've really gone heavy, and I think this is important they've gone heavy on both sides of the line. Broncos used to be Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, this big pass rush, nice front seven. They got Zach Allen on a nice deal. I think he's a pretty underrated player. And then they got guys like McGlinchey and Ben Powers to shore up the offensive line for Russell Wilson, which they desperately need, so that Sean Payton's really trying to address certain needs, and they can attack that in later points in the draft because they don't have a first-round pick. So they had to make splashes. And then they got Jared Stidham, who I like as a backup, because I don't think Brett Rippon's necessarily going to cut it if Russell Wilson goes down. Yeah,
I mean, they've signed some good players. I will say they've signed all these players, I think, for a lot of money, and I think they've honestly overpaid for pretty much all of them, which, like, Jared Stidham, I believe it's a 2-year, $10 million deal, which is a decent amount for a backup quarterback.
It's not as much as they're paying Mike White in Miami.
True. But I would also probably, I don't know, I guess you could really have either. They're about even. But Mike McGlinchey, a 5-year deal worth $87.5 million. I mean, obviously all this isn't guaranteed, but I think he's more of a run blocking.
Yeah, and they need help in a lot of spots.
Yeah.
So,
but they signed Chris Manners, who is also a run-blocking tight end, so could this be a sign that the Broncos are going to lean more into the run than Russell Wilson this season? Potentially.
Put some pressure off of him.
Yeah. And they also got Ben Powers as well from the Ravens, who also, knows quite a bit about run blocking from Baltimore.
Will this turn the Broncos into who I thought would be a potential Super Bowl contender? Probably not in the first year, but I like the direction, and I think we obviously knew Sean Payton was going to make the smart choices, so I trust him in this situation.
Okay. Yeah, that's very, 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 very fair.
And then the Falcons, obviously, they get your guy Jesse Bates on a nice deal. I think it's a record-setting deal for safeties, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, a bit of an overpay, but I think the Falcons have money to spend. The Bengals weren't willing to pay that much money for a safety in Jesse Bates, and
Falcons
Jesse Bates got the bag. So
yeah, and then they got I think it's Almanyetta, who is a solid tackle for the Saints.
David Onyemata.
Yeah,
I think that's how you pronounce it.
I'm not sure on the pronunciation. And then I like Chris Lindstrom, getting him re-signed. He was really good last year, and they were able to run the ball really effectively. So I think that's probably the direction they were going. Jonnu Smith for a 7th-round pick. I don't know. I think the Patriots are eating a lot of that contract. So if they get to reunite Jonnu Smith with Arthur Smith, who was able to get the best out of him.
Yeah, that was like his only good year.
Yeah, so maybe they can get something out of that and work with Kyle Pitts, which could be entertaining. I don't think they're signing Heineke to be the starter, but he's not bad. So the Falcons no one's jumping off the page as the clear winner here, but I like where the direction is.
I will say I think the clear winner so far is the Dolphins.
That is true.
They give Jalen Ramsey
for a great job
for a 3rd-round pick, which as a Bengals fan, I'm like, why didn't you
go get him?
Why didn't you submit something more than a 3rd-round pick and some backup tight end? I think also.
I'd submit a backup tight end and 2nd-round pick for
Jalen Ramsey he wasn't the best cornerback last year by any means, but he's still awesome.
And it could very well just be that Jalen Ramsey wanted to go to Miami, so the Dolphins had a lot of leverage in this case, and I think they were cap dumping him to sign up for some other stuff. David Long's not bad. Mike White. Tua's going to get hurt at some point. This is the reality of who he is now. And so getting a guy like Mike White who can come in for a couple games, play well, and then go back to the bench, it's not bad.
And not only do they get David Long, who is the linebacker from Tennessee, but they get him for very, very cheap as well. 2 years, $11 million. I believe he was getting all-pro votes. Mm-hmm. And, when you see the Bears signing Tremaine Edmonds, which we can talk about in a second, for a ton of money.
Bears are spending money.
Great work from the Dolphins. They also re-signed Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, so both their running backs are good.
The Dolphins are doing the best with I don't think they have the most salary cap space, but they're certainly playing the game very smart.
Yeah. As for the Bears,
well, we knew they were going to do something.
They had a lot of money. They have actually they had the most amount of money available to them. And, they started out the day signing TJ Edwards from the Eagles. Good signing, good linebacker signing.
Good signing.
But then as the day started to go, you're like, whoa. Look, it's like giving I don't even know, like giving a baby like a firework or something.
They just keep going with it.
Yeah, they just running everywhere with it. If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile, kind of.
Yeah.
Ryan Poles.
Ryan Poles set the pace.
Yeah, he was kind of going all over the place with it. He signs TJ Edwards, 3 years, $19.5 million deal.
Not bad.
We also didn't talk about the.
They got a lineman though. They got Nate Davis.
Yeah, they got Nate Davis, but 3 years, $30 million, $10 million for a guard. Kind of maybe a lot, but they're signing good players.
Yeah.
Tremaine Edmonds is an overpay.
Yeah, I would have been probably more inclined to do like 4 years, 60 maybe. That 72 feels like an overpay for someone that didn't. He was a good target. And it felt like the Bears could have gone different areas, but now that they have, which I think we can segue to, is they have a lot of draft capital to work with. So maybe they were thinking, okay, we take care of our targets in free agency, and then we'll address, because they have a number 1 receiver now in DJ Moore. They have a guard that's able to protect Justin Fields. Maybe their plan with the number 9 pick is getting like Paris Johnson from Ohio State.
Potentially.
So we'll see. They're cooking.
They are cooking.
They're at least trying.
I will say, Tremaine Edmonds, he's in his 5th season of the NFL?
Yes.
Still only 19 years old, just like Jason Tatum?
He is indeed. With him and Tatum, they have found a way to just elude time.
Yeah,
and they're 19 years old.
Tremaine
forever.
Edmonds, I actually believe, is 24 years old and in his 5th season. I don't know how that works, but the Jason Tatum of the NFL. We were talking about the number 1 overall pick being traded. We didn't really talk about this last week because go check it out, the 50th episode special. We did an NFL draft combine, so go check that out. I like this a lot for the Bears.
I do too.
Get DJ Moore, who I don't know where he is. He's not the elite tier of wide receiver ones, but he's probably like 15th to 20th best receiver in the league.
Yeah, it's not like you're
say.
going to get Allen Lazard to be your number 1 wide receiver like the Packers had to work with last year. It's more of I would say what Odell Beckham is now in his career is what DJ Moore is in terms of his skill level. It's better than anything Chicago's had for a long time. So I like the move. And I like that they were able to get so much out of it. On the flip side, we'll see what Carolina does with number 1. I have a theory as to what they're going to do.
What's the theory?
I don't think they're going to make a smart move, Patrick. I think they're going to draft Anthony Richardson.
You don't think that's a smart move?
I think that Anthony Richardson's a fine QB, or could be a fine QB, but I think you need to go with more of a surefire bet in C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young.
So my thought is, if you're trading up, I don't think you can draft Bryce Young just because.
You don't think so? That's why
just
I think
because of his measurables.
Yeah.
Just because of his measurables, I don't think you can draft something that's so uncertain and hasn't really been seen in the NFL before. Because if you trade all the way up to number 1, draft Bryce Young, and then within 2 to 3 years, he's taken too many hits, he's too small, he can't play in the NFL. Bad luck, you're fired. I mean, you're honestly. If you're the Panthers and whoever you draft at 1 doesn't pan out, you're probably fired anyways.
Probably.
But I think if you're going all the way up to 1, I honestly think the opposite of you. I think you got to take the ceiling and take Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, that was the theory, was that they were going to draft, because the drafting someone like Bryce Young doesn't justify the haul that you just
I
traded
agree.
for. And so I get it. I just think that Anthony Richardson is it's very. Let me be fair here. If he pans out, he's Josh Allen 2.0. Let's just throw that out there in terms of size.
Cam Newton 2.0.
Cam Newton 2.0, which for the Panthers, that's fine.
Yeah.
That'll be a great 10 years, and if he can stay healthy, maybe even more. But me, just from my eyes, Anthony Richardson would benefit from sitting for a year or 2 and refining some of those. I call him a great athlete, but not the best mechanically refined QB.
I would agree
as
with that.
opposed to a C.J. Stroud,
I would
who's
agree with that.
not maybe the best athlete, but one of the better refined QBs.
That's true, but
It's a give and take.
The Panthers no longer have their number 1 option. They no longer have DJ Moore. They probably have the worst weapons room, skill position group
They do.
in the NFL. Their wide receiver 1 currently, Shi Smith, Terrace Marshall,
And they have Ian Thomas. As a
Ian
tight end.
Thomas, Tommy Trimble, Notre Dame alum.
No more Christian McCaffrey.
They have Chuba
either.
Hubbard. If you have Anthony Richardson, you have him as a running threat, which objectively is not the case with C.J. Stroud. Bryce Young can run a little bit, but not to the level of Anthony Richardson.
Right.
So, you're maybe a little bit better off. You maybe have a better chance generating some sort of offense. I'm sure they're not done getting weapons, because if you go into next season with this skill position group,
You're asking for
not good. But, I think Anthony Richardson would provide some sort of alternative option to just throwing the ball.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a huge debate as to whether they made the right choice. You see where I come. I could see why they do it, and I can rationalize it in my head. It will just scare me for what the Panthers. Maybe Frank Reich, the quarterback whisperer, will be able to make it work. I don't know. We will see, and it's very intriguing that the Panthers were the team to do it. I didn't think they would be the one. I thought they might maybe stick it out with Darnold, try to find a Garoppolo, which they didn't. Anthony Richardson, the Panthers, makes them very interesting. And that's not a very strong division still, even with all the moves.
Very, very much so. Speaking of Jimmy Garoppolo, though, we'll get on to some other free agent signings, and then we might finish up with some quick March Madness stuff as well. Jimmy Garoppolo signs with the Raiders, 3 years, $72.75 million.
Jimmy G, the most arguably handsome quarterback in football?
Potentially. I mean, I know we've had this debate before, so
we
won't relitigate that, but
they also got him another weapon today.
yeah, they got Jacoby Myers re-linking up with Josh McDaniels.
Pain. That's all I gotta say. No comment.
Well, you have Tyquan Thornton. You have Kendrick Bourne.
I'm so excited.
Honestly, you might have like a Hunter Renfrow is probably going to get traded now.
He might.
So just swap
Belichick,
places.
you know Belichick's all about
loves
the
Hunter
short white
Renfrow
guy.
types.
Oh yeah.
So Jimmy G though, pretty team friendly deal, I think.
He doesn't really. I feel like you're trading away Derek Carr for more handsome Derek Carr, but
I think his cap hit this coming year is only going to be something around $19 to $20 million, which for like Daniel Jones is getting like what $40 million a year. I actually don't think his cap hit this coming year is that much either, but it's going to be. So
it's very team friendly considering
Yeah.
what QB market is now.
yeah,
I think if Jimmy G stays healthy, he's gonna be fine. But in the division with Justin Herbert, maybe a Russell Wilson revitalized, and then obviously Patrick Mahomes, how does that stack up on a team that struggled a lot last year with virtually a quarterback I find to be the same, just more injury prone?
and still don't have much of a defense either.
No. So they're probably going to address defense in the draft now that they have, maybe try to get a Nolan Smith or maybe even go for a Jalen Carter, depending on how that situation plays out.
Yeah. They also don't have Darren Waller anymore.
They don't. They just traded.
Yeah, they just traded him to the Giants for a third-round pick. I've seen some rumors that I don't know if you saw this. So Darren Waller gets married to the Las Vegas Aces star Kelsey Plum, I believe.
Yeah.
And supposedly McDaniels leaked that to the press at the combine or sometime recently.
Really?
And supposedly that wasn't supposed to be leaked, and Darren Waller was pretty mad at him for it. So did Josh McDaniels trade Waller so we didn't have to deal with that anymore?
Josh McDaniels, not a big wedding guy, not a big right to privacy.
Not a big love guy.
Not a big love guy.
Not a big romantic. But unfortunately for the newlyweds, they're not going to be in the same city anymore.
Maybe we see a WNBA trade on the move.
Oh,
New York,
yeah.
New York team.
What's the WNBA team there? I think it's the Liberty.
Yes, it's the Liberty.
Yeah.
There you go. WNBA on cover 2.
Darren Waller, though, he's going to the Giants. Third-round pick, not bad for Darren Waller. He is getting older. He is kind of injury-prone at this point.
I do want to see, and this is finally a weapon for Daniel Jones to work with. So
Daniel Bellinger, though, job security.
Elite.
His job is in danger, honestly.
do they run the Gronk Hernandez combo with Daniel Bellinger and Darren Waller?
They could do that.
The Big Apple's got some big talent.
Yeah. But he becomes more of a premier target for Daniel Jones, someone he can kind of look to, other than whoever's on that roster at wide receiver at this point. I don't even know. But who else? Well, we did just see the Cowboys got Stephon Gilmore for a fifth-round pick. Get a corner opposite of Trayvon Diggs. Stephon Gilmore not playing quite to, the defensive player of the year performance he had a few years ago, but
We just got this from Ian Rappaport.
Oh, is this breaking news?
Some Aaron Rodgers news. He will be live at 1 o'clock, and Pat McAfee's making a big deal out of it.
1 o'clock tomorrow?
1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
It's 5:37 p.m. right now.
No, I mean like he's going to do tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay,
No,
tomorrow.
No.
I was really confused. Cool. Okay.
So we might have a decision tomorrow. So do we want to make a decision? Do
Yeah.
you think he retires? Shocks the
No,
world?
he's not retiring.
Going to the Jets?
He's going to the Jets. But yeah, Cowboys get Stephon Gilmore for a fifth round pick. Relatively low risk, high reward.
Low risk, high reward. Like it for the Cowboys.
Yep.
They're along on Trayvon Diggs. Also, why I did that, I just want to make, because it was kind of a break in the flow, is I have my Twitter notifications turned on in case something were to break during our show. So I just wanted to clear that out.
No.
But yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I got you.
Yeah. Other than that, the Eagles actually, I'm looking at Adam Schefter's
James
Twitter
Bradberry.
as well.
I just
They
saw it.
re-signed James Bradberry to a 3-year deal. So good for the Eagles. They aren't losing everybody, but they get James Bradberry back, who was pretty solid for him.
That's pretty solid. Good deal.
Who was it? Who was trash talking James Bradberry from the 49ers?
It was all of them.
All of them? Okay. I
It
thought there
was-
was a video of,
I think it was Debo Samuel, but
maybe it was Ayuk actually.
it might have been. I know a lot of
one of them.
A lot of trash talk was.
Yeah. They
thrown
were
the-
talking about how trash James Bradbury was, and
Hey, he got the bag.
he had the holding call though in the final play. Who else? Eric Kendricks, he's going to the Chargers. He got released by the Vikings.
Austin Eckler might be his way out of.
That's
Chargers,
also
too.
true. He's supposedly he's able to seek a trade now. I don't know who's going to trade for Eckler though.
Interesting.
I feel like there's a lot of running backs on the trade market right now. You got Derrick Henry,
Yeah.
you got Dalvin Cook potentially. Austin Eckler, smaller dude, has had
Chargers-
injury issues.
Chargers may be fine with this.
So, yeah, Chargers can probably. I mean, you also got running backs in the draft, so don't want to pay running backs a lot of money. Unfortunately for Austin Eckler,
Never do.
I don't think that. It seems like the Chargers aren't going to want to give him a new deal that he's looking for, I believe.
Yeah.
What else happened? The 49ers, they signed both Sam Darnold and Javon Hargrave. So one of the defensive tackles that the Eagles have lost, one of the pieces on their defensive line that was historical this season, no longer with the Eagles. He's going to the 49ers.
Big move.
Yeah, the 49ers have had some issues with, just getting run at down the middle. Javon Kinlaw has not been the player that I think they thought they were going to be when they drafted him in the first round a few years ago, but they get some reinforcements there. They get Sam Darnold to be their quarterback 1, their quarterback 2, or their quarterback 3.
All depends on the health of the other two. Really.
Completely healthy. Who's QB1, who's QB2, who's QB3?
It probably should be Trey Lance, but I think it's going to be Brock Purdy.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we've had this discussion
We
so
have.
many times, and I'm still not sure what is going to happen. But yeah, Sam Darnold could be any one of those QB options for the 49ers.
I'd like to see Darnold work in a Shanahan offense. That'd be kind of cool.
He's back on the West Coast as well.
Maybe he revitalizes his career in San Francisco.
Maybe, probably not, but he had a pretty decent end to the season last
Maybe.
year. Any other thoughts on free agency so far?
Unless something breaks on my computer, I think that covers all the bases for today.
I think we've kind of run through everything somewhat, but March Madness is here. Let's talk about that real
The
quickly.
arguably best sports tournament of all time.
Yeah, I think, March Madness, World Cup probably are
Yeah.
the top two.
Yeah, I would say so.
The
College
I
football
don't
playoff
know.
doesn't have enough close games really to
March
justify
Madness
that.
is awesome though. I think I've underrated March. Like March is just a great month. I mean, you have the draft stuff heating up. You have free agency. You have March Madness, of course. Even though a lot of the tournaments actually played in April. But
Misconception.
when the bracket came out on Sunday afternoon, I was trying so hard. I just wanted to I just want a bracket in front of me to just look at it. That's what I wanted.
You look at it.
Brackets are just awesome.
Oh, they asked, so Patrick and I are in multiple classes together, and one of our professors asked if anyone in the class was a bracket freak. I don't know how he exactly worded it. He was saying, who's the religious March Madness people in the room? I raised my hand. I make at least 4 to 5 brackets a year. I don't know any better than the next guy.
I don't think you can call yourself a bracket freak if you're making only 4 or 5.
Well, there's a
I
lot
think
to
you gotta exhaust all 35
Then I think you're just a
options
bracket
on
maniac.
ESPN's tournament challenge because look, you autofill some of them, and then you just don't touch them for the rest of the tournament. And look, if you get a perfect bracket and go, yeah,
That was
I
mine.
did that one. I did that one. But brackets are awesome.
They are fantastic.
What are you looking at here, Grayson? We're super qualified to talk about college basketball.
Super.
Obviously.
I did my
I'm gonna get some in-depth analysis.
I did my share of Clemson basketball coverage this year.
So you're perfect for this tournament.
I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm not.
NIT though.
NIT, I will be there on Wednesday night.
We're a 1 seed.
1 seed up for the NIT. I'll be
There
there
we
Wednesday
go.
night for coverage. I've been to every home game since the beginning of January.
Okay. Well, call your shot for March Madness right now. What's going to happen?
I'm going to say that there's going to be two. I have this in my big bracket. I'm a big upset guy, but I also like some of the teams in our own state. I like Charleston.
Okay.
I like Furman a lot. I know Virginia's not a fun matchup, but keep an eye out for Jalen Slauson to be a tournament phenom. He got his heart broken. I know him personally. I talked to him last spring. I went to high school with him too. Had him on the pod. He had his heart broken in the SoCon tournament last year. They finally got their shot, and I think Oglesby too was 5th year.
So
this is a
inside
team,
info.
Yeah, this is a team that can speed Virginia up, that likes to play slow, and I think Furman's also a big team, which matches well with Virginia. I'm going to take Charleston and Furman in upsets in the first weekend.
Okay, who wins between them two? Because they are.
I'm going to take Furman on the sides.
Okay.
So Furman in the Sweet 16.
I have Charleston winning too.
Yeah.
I do have Virginia beating Furman, but Virginia does have Ben Vanderplas out with a broken hand, who
that's
is
a big deal.
One of their better players. So
Virginia also is a team that if they're not shooting the ball very well, it's going to fall apart. And they're not really a great historic offensively. They're not a great team offensively this year, just in this isolated.
They haven't been for a few years.
Yeah.
Not since the likes of, Kyle Guy, DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah, that team was fun to watch.
Ty Jerome.
Suns legend.
Kia Clark is somehow still on the team though. So
Somehow, some way.
Diakite, I remember when he hit that shot, buzzer beater to tie Purdue and then eventually win.
The Carson Edwards
The
game.
Carson Edwards game. Ooh, great game.
I think my team to win it all is UCLA.
Ooh, okay.
I like them out west. I watched actually a couple of their games just late at night. You get back home, and you just end up
10:30 tip-off time.
Yeah, and I really liked their team in 2020 when they made that run.
That's true. They still have Jaime Jaquez. They still have Tiger Kimball.
Yep.
They don't have Jalen Clark though, who's one of their better players.
Jaquez is legit.
Jaquez is legit.
He can turn a tournament. He can carry a team on his own.
And they've been there before. You got to have experienced guards to win this tournament.
Yeah. And I don't understand with all the. I know Gonzaga usually chokes pretty late down the stretch, but I don't get a lot of people are hyping them up now, even when they've had a quote unquote down year when they're only the 4 seed. But I feel like they're gonna stumble at some point, just based off of pure history alone.
Yeah, I got them losing to UCLA. I'm trying to look at what else here. You've got the ultimate Drake matchup between Drake and Miami.
Are you looking at brackets?
Yeah.
Are you looking at mine?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying. Look, I picked Miami, but Drake famously filmed God's Plan in Miami, the music video.
So, for the audience back home, I'm in a contest bracket where the first prize money is a $500 payout.
Whoa.
So, this is my final 4.
Let's see how many we got.
My final 4 is Alabama.
Okay.
Playing Duke. Duke's a team.
Duke's a popular
Duke's been playing
lower seed.
Especially with the ACC, they've been playing really, really well down the stretch. Especially after the Clemson game, they had some injuries. They've started to find themselves. I think it's Filipowski.
Yeah, Kyle Filipowski.
He's a heck of a player. And then in my other bracket, I have Texas beating Houston in the Elite 8, Texas, UCLA,
okay,
and Alabama and Duke. And then I have Duke and UCLA in the championship.
Oh, you think Duke gets all the way there?
I do. I might be reading too much into the blue blood type thing, but I don't know.
I mean, Duke's a candidate to get upset by Oral Roberts.
Duke is indeed a candidate to get upset.
Oral Roberts, a better team than they were a few years ago. They still have Max Asmus, who famously was the guard who just went nuts. So you could be very, very sad.
I could be screwed
after
hey, if your champion wins.
First 2 days. I personally, so I like the thought of. I don't think Purdue's going to get to the Final Four.
I don't either.
They have inexperienced guards. Can't be a Final Four winner with inexperienced guards.
I don't think Eddie's a very great shooter.
No, I mean he's. It doesn't matter. He doesn't have to be a good shooter. But I have Marquette getting out of that one. Shaka Smart gets to the Final Four.
That would be. Marquette's been a popular one too. You talk about Duke being a popular choice.
I think that nobody knows what to do with the East region.
No, it's tough.
Tennessee doesn't have Zakai Ziegler. Kansas State, good feel-good story with Keontae Johnson, who was at Florida. He was the player that collapsed a few years ago on the court. Mm-hmm. He's back known as one of the best players in the country. Mm-hmm. I got Marquette. I've got Creighton actually getting out of
Okay, why
South.
is that? That's a good pick. That's one of the this is a chaotic bracket.
Look, I had to have someone besides a 1 and a 2 get to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Because, mix it up a little bit. And I feel like Creighton's a little bit underseeded. I believe they were top 10 at the beginning of the year.
They were. Weren't they a 6 seed?
Yeah, they're a 6 seed.
And they're playing who in the opener?
They are playing NC State.
Yeah,
which,
I had Creighton beating NC State.
Now that I look at it, NC State has screwed Clemson. They're probably going to screw me over as well.
Probably.
And just beat Creighton, but you know what it is, what it is. I just need my champion to survive the first weekend because my previous 2 years, both my champs have lost to 15 seeds.
Oh, that's painful. Well, this is the thing. This is the old thing. I think if your champion wins outright, you're going to win your bracket just based off
Most
of the
of the
points.
time.
Most
Yeah,
of the time,
somebody else
unless your
does.
bracket is unbelievably horrendous. So you have to have a little bit of an outside pick.
But I've got, on the other side, I've got Houston and Kansas playing in the Final Four. I have Houston actually beating Penn State, Jalen Pickett, 10 seed. That's
Penn
my
State's been playing pretty well. Too.
I think that's going to be my
holding
subtle
my phone like a old man.
upset to go kind of far.
You know what? I'm going to change my pick just based off of that. I'm going to put Creighton in the Sweet 16.
Oh, well, now this isn't going to happen. Now Creighton's going to lose.
I'm going to ride it. You know what? I got to stick to my guns.
I definitely was not very convincing. So if Creighton loses, it's because of you. And then I have Kansas beating UCLA in the Elite Eight.
I have 2 6 seeds in the Elite Eight. That's kind of cool. Creighton and Duke, or Creighton and Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah, Kentucky is I have Kentucky beating
I don't know
Marquette
if that's
in
going
the
to
Sweet
happen,
16.
but yeah, this. See, now I got to change now. Creighton's definitely
I'm messing
not
with your
gonna-
head. You're messing with my
The thing
head.
is, I filled this out mostly based off vibes. I mean,
Vibes is how you pick March Madness. though.
I'm trying not to switch it that much. So
I'm happy with my picks. I'm happy with
you
them. I'm at
use
peace.
it's like a test when you don't know the answer. If
just gotta go
you
off
switch
vibe.
the answer, it's going to be wrong. So now Creighton's going to be wrong, and
Hey, maybe
I'm going to look like an idiot. But
Stick to
I
your
mean,
guns, Patrick.
I already kind of do. So, but yeah, I have Kansas beating Marquette in the national championship.
That would
Kansas
be-
repeats.
Marquette being. Yeah, that's a good story with Bill Self.
Yeah, with him coming back, he is coming back, so that's good.
It's a good story.
That's good for the program. But
It's a good story. Good story.
That's pretty much it. Oh, watch out for Kennesaw State. They're going to beat Xavier.
Oh, is that your big upset?
Solely based off because
Someone does not
it's the local
trust
college
Xavier.
from where I'm from. So
Okay.
yeah, that's basically it. That is going to do it, I think, for this episode of the Cover 2, episode 51. We want to thank you for tuning in. Grayson, any other thoughts?
Just say a prayer with me that the Patriots do something worthwhile this free agency period. Say a prayer.
Say a prayer that Kansas gets out of the first weekend, too. We want to thank Zach and Connor for producing, as always. And yeah, that's going to do it. So have a good one.